Good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to this week's episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast. I am one of your hosts, MrBooMStickXL, and it is a glorious Thursday. Unfortunately, it is raining like cats and dogs here in New York, but that's not going to stop us from talking about the greatest Xbox news this side of the universe. But with me, as always, making his triumphant return to the Xbox Factor Podcast, my brother from across the pond, my co-host who I could not do the show without, the Welsh Gamer. Welcome, dude.
What's happening, Boom? Again, I can only apologise for my absence last week, but as a true trooper and a true hero of the community, Saltist Gaming stepped in and took over. Big ups to him. Big shout out to him. Glad to be back. It feels like months since I last done a show. 1 week feels like so long because I have so much fun doing this. And last but not least on my to-do list in terms of my intro, I'd like to do one more huge shout out to no other than Graphic God for what he's done for me. This new gamer pick that you see right in front of you as I'm talking, unbelievable. The quality is fantastic. Oh, pardon me, fantastic. You all listening are doing yourself a disservice if you don't get in touch with this man to sort you out with some graphics. He is phenomenal. Glad to be back, Boom. Back to you, sir.
Yes, well, listen, first of all, I got to thank a couple of people in the chat. First of all, J-Dubs, also known, a.k.a. the Graphic God, is in the chat. And as you can see, both Welsh and I are recipients of some of the greatest artwork we've ever been accustomed to. Hey, listen, I normally do commercials for him, but at this point, if you don't know who J-Dubs is, if you don't know who the Graphic God is, I suggest you find out immediately. He does work that is second to none. As you can see, my new avatar, of course, has Resident Evil, concerning it. That's me wearing Leon S. Kennedy's, RPD outfit. But what's crazy is the actual drawing of my face. Now, again, my head in real life is not that big, but it is, it is a big head regardless. And I have to tell you, the secret to this is what the magic is. And he took a still shot from a live unboxing video from YouTube and sketched it out. And if that doesn't scream talent, if that doesn't scream professionalism at its absolute finest, I don't know what does. So listen, go to Twitter, follow him on Twitter. If you're interested and you want to talk to him, hit him up in a DM and ask him questions. And he's so professional that he even will set up a private Google chat or Google Hangout where you guys can discuss in person, one-to-one, exactly what you're looking for. His prices are extremely reasonable and affordable, and he works with all budgets. So listen, go to xboxgamerpicks.com, tell him Boom sent you, and you know what? Get your own custom pick, just like the Welsh and I. But you know what? Let's get into what everyone is here to talk about, and that, of course, is Xbox gaming. And this weekend, Welsh, my goodness, 2019 is just started. We're at the end of the month. But wow, what a way to end January. This weekend, we are getting Resident Evil 2, the remake, which is getting unbelievable reviews. And, of course, the VIP demo for Anthem, which, of course, looks stunning. But you know what? Besides the fact that we're going to be playing these games, there's some real big hubbub on Twitter, and it kind of annoys me. And I normally don't like to get involved in console war nonsense, but my pop always used to say, son, you got to call a spade, because he was a big card player. And when something's the truth, you speak it. And as we know, as Xbox gamers who have been on the ropes for several years. This is not a revelation, folks. We have been on the ropes because PlayStation 4 and Sony have done their job to dominate this generation. There's no denying it. But whenever a Sony representative, a big wig, a CEO, or someone with status quo in the Sony verse, if you will, comes out and says something like, a 1080p makes you a better gamer, or this is how you share games, or we have 900 million consoles sold to your 2. Everyone cheers on the PlayStation side. There's tweets from everyone, all from the toxic community all the way down to the people who don't even really care but just want to be on a side. And there's someone on the Microsoft side. I call him the bad boy of Xbox, Mike Ybarra, who I'm referring to. And I like Mike. I think Mike wears his attitude on his sleeve. I think that he is exactly what the Xbox brand needs. He is the snarkness, if you will. And, we were talking about this, Welsh, regarding a very simple tweet. And of course, like Twitter, it erupted in lots of hate, lots of finger pointing, which I thought was absolutely unnecessary. And this was Mike Ybarra's tweet. The best console to play Anthem on will be very clear. The Xbox One X, #Xbox. And for some strange reason, people went apeshit. Welsh, I want to get your opinion on this because you obviously are 50% of this show. This is just a tweet speaking the truth. Why are people shitting their pants?
First, I want to correct you and say that I'm about 60% of the show.
Oh,
actually.
Okay, you're right. You are correct. We'll give you the extra 10.
No, man, honestly, the first thing I thought when I saw this tweet was, okay, this is going to get some backlash. But what makes me laugh, Boom, and you said it best, like over the years when Sony reigned supreme and they had the better system, tech-wise, you had that, Digital Foundry proving it every other week. There was comments left and right, and some were known, by none other than like Yoshida himself, the head of Sony, and it was never reported upon. It was never really, nobody ever really complained. Even the Xbox community, like I don't really remember seeing any backlash, because I'm sure there was a few that did, don't get me wrong. But I mean, I, for one, like, as much as like I did think, oh, that's a bit of a cheap shot and stuff like that, the bottom line was calling a spade, taking that exact same phrase you used a moment ago. Bottom line, the PlayStation was, while very minimal indeed, it was a more powerful system with better resolution for the most part. And it was just, whether it was a big or small pill for people to swallow, for me, I couldn't give a fuck because I was having fun on my Xbox regardless. But it is what it is. But now we have the One X and the PlayStation Pro, however many years later, and the One X is just miles apart. That is the fact. You can't argue facts. It's one thing for me, you, or Dupree down the road to give our opinion, but when facts are facts and you actually don't need Digital Pony to run through every frame with a magnifying glass, it is plain to see that all games are running at a far superior quality. And Mike Ybarra, being that he, just as much, if not more, than the community who supports Xbox, because he's obviously right there on the front line with like Phil Spencer and the rest of them, he's just talking from a place of pride. Granted, the guy likes to post things on Twitter and probably likes to do his little, like dig here and there, but good, with all due respect to him and team, I think they're in their rights to. They took it for 4 years, so why not give it back a little? It's like my mum and dad always used to say with me and my brothers, because we used to fight all the time. They used to say to me all the time, like, don't give it if you can't take it. Like, don't punch your brother in the ribs and rugby tackle him and wrestle him to the ground and bloody if you can't take it when he does it to you back. So Yoshida and the ponies and all the bloody pony riders out there who were quick to give it every opportunity they got when Sony had the more superior system, just think in the future, if say the PS5 is more powerful, or just count your chips, take a seat, be humble, because if you can't receive it, then don't give it, because this is a prime example. Mike Ybarra is just stating facts and people can't handle it. The truth hurts sometimes, but I see no problem with that tweet. It's far less malicious than that little ad they did, 1080p makes you a better gamer, and that how to share your games and stuff like that. Like, so Sony have pulled some fast ones over the years, Boom.
Yeah, they have.
And I think when you compare that to a little like one sentence tweet by Mike Ybarra, it's night and day what's rude and what's not, in my opinion.
Well, you know what? I wanna talk about someone who responded immediately to this tweet, and he's known through this community. His technical knowledge of of the Xbox and PC are really like second to none. Like I put him right there with Colt Eastwood, and I'm talking about Dealer Gaming. Now I'm good friends with Dealer. I've been on his show numerous times. I have yet to have him on on my show. That hopefully will transpire in 2019. I like Dealer. I think he's a very smart dude. He has all the consoles. He's an Xbox guy. Um, and he responded immediately. And I want to read his tweet because again, it's a simplistic tweet. It's very well written, and it explains everything in a nutshell. And I want to get your opinion on it. This was Dealer's exact response verbatim. Believe it or not, people are mad at Xbox Quick, which is Mike Ybarra on Twitter, for not lying to them. LOL, I don't understand. And then he lists two facts here. Says, you guys already know this will be true. Xbox One X, it's substantially faster than the Pro, more RAM, etc. And two, we've seen this over and over and over for a year now. Game looks great. Now, again, the tweet is in itself is a simplistic tweet, but it's an informative tweet in a way that is not shitting on the Pro. It's basically stating facts. And of course, like you would expect, there was backlash towards Dealer about this. And I think that it was unnecessary once again because he is speaking the truth. So again, why is it okay for Sony fans to tout, look, in 2018, a magnificent year for the Sony brand. Hell, I was out there touting them, and I'm an Xbox dude, right? I like their first party games. The three first party games were in my top 10, right? Two of them were in my top 3. That's saying something. So I'm a gamer at heart, more than just being an Xbox dude. So if I can go out there and I can tout, well, Sony had a better year. I enjoyed their games better than what Microsoft had to order. What's the problem? That's okay. But when someone like Dealer or someone like myself will start a podcast and say, listen, I got a problem with this, I don't know, I'm probably going to get some negative hate on this. And I actually don't care because I'm quite honestly sick of it and I needed to address it. What were your takes on Dealer's tweet?
Mate, my take on Dealer's tweet, Mike Ybarra's tweet, and generally this whole generation as a whole, because all of those things like fall into the same category, really. The same, is this, like, the narrative has always kind of changed in Sony's favor, but the one narrative that has always stuck true is this. If you can even call it a narrative, I just call it a almost like a trend. And it's this: PlayStation can't do no wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
And that doesn't always mean like it's games and how they're rated on Metacritic or its services, it's PlayStation Network, but the community, the media, how PlayStation is portrayed. Like Yoshida could quite literally like fire off a ton of his own feces on the end of a bazooka at bloody Microsoft headquarters in Redmond, and IGN would be reporting it the next day, like Yoshida's showing pride in this move, and it wouldn't be like, oh, what a bastard. It's just one of those things. I think like Dealer, he responded in a very logical sense. Like you said, he wasn't shitting on anything. Mike Ybarra wasn't even shitting on anything. He was just stating a fact. And then Dealer backed up that exact fact with more facts and more logic. And naturally, because it's Xbox, because in the same vein of what I was just saying, PlayStation can't do no wrong, but Xbox can do everything wrong. It's just a simple matter of that. It's like, it doesn't matter what is said anymore. I think the only way this will truly change is next generation, depending on how well Xbox starts the generation, because if they start the generation on a great note and it starts strong, then maybe media and narrative will start playing into their favor a bit, and they'll start getting the recognition and props that they have deserved for a far too long now. But this generation has been set in stone now. Sony and its executives and its community can literally do nothing wrong. They can't say anything wrong. But on the flip side, Xbox could literally deliver every man, woman, and child a check for £1 million and an infinite supply of corn dogs and popcorn and milkshakes and keep a smile on everyone's face, and they'd still be fuckers compared to what Sony's doing if they charged you $100 just to have a shit in your own toilet. Like, it's just, it blows my mind. Dealer did nothing wrong. Mikey Barra did nothing wrong. This is a simple case of truth hurts. Ponies can't take anything back at them, even though they're quick to give it. And regardless of what Xbox does or PlayStation does, PlayStation will always be put in the limelight as this great supreme blah 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 blah. Everything's positive, everything's cool, and Xbox will always be. They'll always nitpick. There'll always be someone out there nitpicking something Xbox does, even something as insignificant and simple as a tweet by Mikey Barra stating a simple fact. It's just, it swings and roundabouts. Like, I'm sure I've had this conversation with people all generation, one time or another, because it is the same thing that has happened constantly. Like I said, it pretty much just sums up this generation, but that's all I can really say. It's laughable. Someone like myself sitting back with the popcorn, this stuff makes me laugh because it's just, when's it going to end?
Well, you know what? I just wanted to kind of throw two more tidbits out here, and of course, these are facts. These are I checked them twice, just like Santa checks his list to make sure that I don't have someone. Because the last couple of times I've done shows, there's always just one particular dude, which I will not give his name, that comes and tries to correct me almost every time. I actually asked the guy to please unfollow me and unsub the channel because listen, I make mistakes. I am not a professional. I am a guy who enjoys video games. I put a lot of work into this channel. Anyone that's been on this show as a guest sees the show notes. 80% of those are written by me. And there's a significant amount of real late work. I mean, I went to bed last night at 1:30, writing. I want to just read two excerpts. One is from Capcom, and one is directly from BioWare. This is regarding the X enhancements, so we know where the best place to play. It's again facts, folks. This is the BioWare official statement. If you signed up for the VIP demo, you can now find out the download size and the Xbox One X enhancements that are a part of Anthem. Okay, that was directly pulled from BioWare. Secondly, this next excerpt was pulled directly from Windows Central, and it confirms that Resident Evil 2: The Remake will feature 4K and 60 FPS modes on the Xbox One X. As far as I know, it is the only one that can do 4K 60. I don't think the Pro can do that. So those are direct information quotes. So yes, both versions of the games that we all will probably be playing this weekend will have Xbox One X enhancements, deeming, again, facts, that it will be the best place to play both of these games. Now, real quick before I go any further, I have to say two things. First of all, Butcher Van with the outstanding and outrageous $25 super chat. He says the next 6 months, so many games, gamers win. Yes, that is absolutely true. At the end of the day, I like what he says, gamers, meaning that I don't care where you lay your head at the end of the night. If you're a gamer and you like games, like me, like him, like you will enjoy the next 6 months. It's going to be one hell of a ride. But I want to talk about something real quick before I move on to the next topic, because I think it's a good one. And again, there may be some salt thrown, if you will, that I've learned hanging out with Salty. What are your takes on these two facts that I put out there? I mean, are you confused by this, or is this as straight as they come?
What, are we still on about the Mikey Barra thing?
Yes. No. Well, we're basically talking about the Xbox One X enhancements coming for these two particular games.
Resident Evil and Anthem. No, Christ, yeah. Sorry, for a moment I thought, what have I missed? Have you moved on? I thought, no, that's fine. No, I mean, quickly before I go into that question, I just want to say what breaks me as well is the fact that Mikey Barra put out this tweet regarding Anthem, and Anthem is a game that is marketed for the Xbox. Like, they got the marketing deals for Anthem, if I'm not mistaken, and when you look back in time, like the amount of times PlayStation has marketed like Call of Duty and said it's the best place to play and it's this, it's that, and it's like, why is it okay for them and not us? Oh, for God's sake, I don't know. But anyway, bottom line, Boom, simple as it comes. If you're stating facts, there should be no way to argue it. There's no way you can argue it. Bottom line, you've got Resident Evil and Anthem, two phenomenal games that are coming up. People are very excited for them. It's a no-brainer, even without someone pointing it out, that they're going to play better on the One X, unless by some random circumstance the developer decided, no, we don't want to utilize the Xbox One X's hardware, which is an option for any third-party developer. Phil Spencer has come out and said that on more than one occasion. Devs can do what the hell they want. But for the most part, I'm yet to see a game that hasn't in some degree utilized it. Just look at Red Dead 2. That was marketed. That was a marketing deal for the PlayStation, and they absolutely went ham on the Xbox One X hardware. And then, the same goes here with Anthem and Resident Evil 2. Two games that are highly anticipated. They're going to look fantastic. And the fact, bottom line, that is the operative word here, the fact that they're going to look better on the One X. I can't see how, even like Dita said, after a whole year, the X has been out a while. This is not like it's not as if these two games are the first two games yet. It's not like Phil has just decided today is the day. Yeah. Today's the day you're going to see the power of the One X. The One X has been pumping out 4K resolution, Xbox One X enhanced games left and right for the last year. So why are people still bitching? I don't know, man. The facts are facts. I just think like anything could happen in the next few years. PlayStation 5 could come out and absolutely fucking blow the Scarlet family out of the water. And then where do they stand then? Are they going to be the ones pointing the finger and going, ha ha, look at this? And it's like, God, like literally, like I keep saying, when does it end? But bottom line, right here and the right now, the fact is the One X is producing the better version of games. And that is a fact. Like there's like how more simple can you put it, Boom? That's my question back to you. Like if someone says to you, hello, Mr. Boomstick, the sky is blue, the sky is blue, grass is green, and clouds are white. Are you gonna sit there and go, no, it isn't? The sky is purple, grass is pink, and clouds are multicolored. What the fuck are you on about? Hashtag flat earthers.
You know what? I don't even know how to respond to that, but like I can say this. Look, here's the thing. This is going to end this particular topic. I'm sorry that I started with it, but I had to address it because it was annoying the shit out of me. And listen, like I said, I don't get involved in console war nonsense. I own all the consoles. And I'm going to say this to anyone out there that's a part of this toxicity on the Sony side of gaming. Look, right now, you won the generation. Pop a cork, drink your bubbly, enjoy yourself. In regards to the most powerful console, you don't have it anymore except life. This is what I say. Be a better gamer, right? Go out and buy yourself an Xbox One X, play your exclusives on your PS4, and if you want to come over to the Xbox side, we'll welcome you with open arms. You can play Resident Evil 2 and Anthem with Xbox One enhancements, and that's the end of the story. There's no arguing it. There's no piss and vinegar involved. There's no one shitting on each other. It's a very simple fix. Again, gaming's expensive. Not everyone can afford it, but if you're a savvy gamer, you save a couple of bucks, maybe collect a couple of cans or something. You can afford to get yourself a second system and maybe get a part of the Xbox, be part of the Xbox family, and support all three consoles or at least two consoles. That's the end of the story.
Can I just say one more thing, Boom?
Please, by all means.
I'll keep it simple. Like, when did people get so goddamn sensitive?
I don't know.
Like, seriously, like when you really break it down, this isn't life and death. This isn't global warming. This is fucking plastic. It's plastic boxes. Like, does it really matter, really, if you're having fun playing games, which one is pumping out the better looking version? Like, I'm no hypocrite. Every time I turn on my Xbox One X, I drool out the one side of my mouth.
Yes.
Honestly, every time. I'm in awe of what I'm looking at. But does that mean if a game comes out on PlayStation that looks better, that drool's going to recede and start pissing out on my right eye instead, and I'm going to start crying? Like, no. Like, I just don't understand. Like, when did people get so damn sensitive over what looks better and what's... Bottom line, Enjoy your games. Like Butcher Van said, the gamers win. Doesn't matter what platform. Doesn't matter which console looks better on what and why. Anything could change at any given moment. 10 years from now, it could be a totally different game. Who knows? Just play your games, god damn it.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, well, listen, let's move on to the next topic. And this one's it's exciting but concerning. And I want to get not only the chat's take on it, I want to also get your take, of course, because it's important. It has been confirmed that Inside Xbox will make its 2019 debut on February 5th. Now, here's the thing. Why, Drew, look, Inside Xbox is coming back. And if I was a betting man, I would wager that Microsoft will be showing off some unseen footage for Crackdown 3. Microsoft, more importantly, needs to show off Crackdown in a big way and get the fans pumped for its release. Here's my question to you before we get into what we're expecting with this. Considering that, this is coming out on the 5th, and Crackdown is coming out just about 10 days afterwards. It's cutting it close, in my opinion. And I haven't seen any advertising. I mean, again, I'm excited for this game. There have been several reports from several, mainstream media sites that have seen the game that has said some really impressive things regarding Crackdown 3. I think that at this point, and I think this should have started happening 2 weeks ago. We should have started seeing, Terry Crews yelling on the screen, shooting things. Even if it was a 30-second commercial, I have not seen anything. If I've missed it, please in the chat let me know about myself. But I have not seen it. I've been looking. In your opinion, Drew, this is a big first-party game, not just because it's a first-party game or it's the first-party game of 2019, but this game has a storied history, one of dread and doubt, and thanks to the developers that did what they had to do, thanks to the Azure cloud, thanks to Phil Spencer saying, no, put this back in the oven, we have to make this right. And now we're hearing that it's going to surprise a lot of people. Why or should Microsoft be doing more advertising for this game? Drew, please take it away.
Well, I first want to say that you're not the only one, Boom. I have certainly noticed a lack of advertisement. I haven't seen anything. It's State of Decay and Sea of Thieves all over again.
Yes.
It's a disgrace, man. Like, even Inside Xbox put to one side, let's just assume, that they're even going to be doing, because obviously this is just us speculating that they're going to be doing Crackdown and stuff like that. But like, where is the advertisement? Like, where's the focus? Like, Crackdown 3 is weeks away. Like, it's weeks away. And I'm yet to see anything. So, Boom, you're not alone, dude. You are not alone. Like, I'm yet to see anything. But with a platform like Xbox, Inside Xbox, if they don't show anything for Crackdown 3, then I gotta be honest, I simply lose all hope when it concerns Xbox and its marketing strategies. It's bloody awful at this point. But I gotta say though, Boom, honestly, like, I know you pushed the question, like, Inside Xbox, like, will they utilize that show to pump out Crackdown information? But I gotta say, even if they go balls to the wall and show lots of Crackdown 3 footage at Inside Xbox, that to me is still really crap. As Inside Xbox is, at least for me, I think it's pretty lame. I'm not a big fan of it myself. But regardless of whether I'm a fan or not, I doubt that a really great deal of people watch it, especially not the casuals. Let's put it that way, which we have established time and time again to be the driving force. So if there's little to no advertisement outside of this mediocre monthly show they do on Inside Xbox, then how are many people supposed to even be amped for this near release? Like, I don't know what's happening, Boom. Honestly, it's such a head scratcher. When you gave me this topic, I was just like, what is going on? Because like, it just occurred to me, like, my head's so in the clouds with thoughts of like Gears of War and Gears of War 5 and Halo Infinite that I didn't even stop to recognize that, like, oh yeah, Crackdown 3 is coming out in a few weeks. Like, well, that's what I'm saying. I forgot. Like, I literally forgot that Crackdown 3 was coming out because of the lack of anything. You don't see anything on Twitter. When you go on YouTube, there's no ad before videos. I went to the cinema the other day, didn't see any ads in the cinema for Crackdown 3. Like,
Yeah.
Boom, honestly, man, like, what the hell is going on? What is their problem over there? Do they just have it? Honestly, if I didn't know any better, if I was just some ruffian on the street and you just asked like my opinion, like, oh, why do you think they haven't advertised their game they've been working on all this time? My response would be, oh, they must not care, or they must have zero faith in that particular product. That would be the logical response to that.
You know, you said something that really kind of makes me wonder. You know, real quick, I have to say, Creep Freak in the chat says they need inside boombox. Now listen, the whole point of me doing YouTube is, you know, eventually I would love to get picked up by Microsoft is the dream. Ubisoft is the dream. I would love to, you know, become a community manager for one of these companies because I love both brands. More specifically, I'd love to work for Xbox. And you know, I don't know. I have a lot of marketing strategies in this you know, retired brain of mine, and maybe I'm too old, maybe I'm too long in the tooth. You know, I am 48. Maybe they're looking for millennials, maybe they're looking for a younger person. But you asked a question, and I'm going to sit here as a guy who's been with on Xbox Live for nearly 15 years, who has been an Xbox guy since the original OG Xbox. For someone who has over 800 games, someone who has a 250,000 plus gamer score, I don't even know what the answer is. All I can tell you is that the marketing has been a letdown. It has been the Achilles heel of the Microsoft Xbox brand in this generation. It is a proven fact that they are behind the way they're behind because their lack of, I don't know, enthusiasm, or I don't know what else to say regarding marketing. Now, here's the thing. I understand Crackdown is coming back from the depths, if you will. You know, this was spoken about by many people within the Xbox community that they should just throw up the arms and get rid of it, right? It's been delayed so many times, they should get rid of it. And somehow or another, they were able to put a game together that not only has a stout, from what we hear, single player campaign, which looks amazing, but the multiplayer, the destruction zone, you know, the 5v5, buildings blowing up all over the place, collapsing on you as you're running and jumping and shooting. Sounds like a bunch of fun. And like I said earlier, we've heard from different avenues that Crackdown 3 is going to surprise a lot of people. So my question is that, okay, Inside Xbox, February 5th. As of today, before the show, I went looking, and I saw an advertisement from Rare on Twitter. It was about maybe 10 or 15 seconds telling the fans that, hey, on the 5th, we're going to be at Inside Xbox to talk about everything that's coming to the game on the 6th, which is the next day. And that's great. If you know, again, I'm a big fan of Rare. I don't play Sea of Thieves, but I applaud it for what it is. It's just not a Booms kind of a game, and that's fine. Not every game is for every gamer, but I give everyone credit that enjoys it because the game does look fun. It's just not for me. So they're advertising. Rare's out there, and they're doing these tweets. Now, again, it's not on billboards. It's not on ESPN. You know, it's not on my phone. I haven't seen any excerpts on YouTube. But the fact that Crackdown 3 is only a couple of weeks away and we have not seen anything, Drew, I got to tell you, man, every time a big game is coming out, and Rick, I don't care whether the Crackdown is your game or not. It's a big game because it's a Microsoft first party, and it should be heralded as a big game. Why isn't other people talking about it? It just blows my mind, Drew.
Honestly, man. And what makes it even more concerning about how like lackluster their marketing is over there at Xbox, because I'm an Xbox fan, but I call it as it is. But it's the fact that Crackdown 3 might literally be a milestone in game development. If this
Yes.
100% destructible environments thing takes off, like, we could, who knows, like, Halo, well, maybe not Halo Infinite because it's currently in development. Maybe like future Halos, future Gears of Wars, future Forzas, future Fables, whatever Ninja Theory and the Initiative are working on. I'm just saying, future games, third party and all. If like they might adopt a lot of these things, we might actually see a Battlefield game with 100% destructible environments. You throw a grenade and it blows up the whole house, the whole street. Who knows? This game, Crackdown 3, could literally be the next step in game development. While it is still limited to its multiplayer, the 100% destructible environments, that's still one step closer to the end goal. And they're not even like waving the flag of pride. Like, look at what we've done. You thought we were out of this game, but we fought and we kept it going. And against all the odds, we're here. The game is still coming. And here we go. Like no one's talking about it. It blows my mind. Sir Galahad in the chat, shouting him out personally because he made an incredible point. He said, Days Gone is getting promoted every week, and that game doesn't come out until April. Now, I'm giving him all the credit. Listen out, this is for you. I'm clapping. No, that point is absolutely... Speaking of facts and how you can't ignore them from the last topic, Boom, how can you ignore that as a fact? Days Gone isn't coming out for ages, and that game's had pretty bad press as well regarding its development, and they're still advertising it like it's the last game on Earth or whatever. Like, they're proud of their product. They're pushing it left and right. I saw another comment in the chat earlier that Sony spends over 40 million, is it, or something on ads, whereas Nintendo and Xbox combined have only spent 10.
Yeah.
And
well, listen,
like,
here's a perfect example. I have been promoting Days Gone. For God's sakes, I did a tweet where I just pre-ordered the collector's edition, was proud to do it, and was touting it all over Twitter. And I like I said, I'm a gamer, I'm an Xbox guy, but I'm looking forward to this Sony exclusive, and I'm doing advertising for them. And you know what I'm saying? Like, there's
no excuse. There's literally no excuse. Days Gone is months and months and months away from now, and it's getting
the 26th
traction.
of April, more specifically.
Yeah, I think it's phenomenal. That's how it should be done. That is why Sony is leading this generation when it comes to their first party and all other aspects, because they are balls to the wall. They are proud of their product. It doesn't matter if Xbox One X is 4K 60. That doesn't matter when you're appealing to the casuals on a weekly, daily basis, shoving down their throats, come to PlayStation, because we have this, and this. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like inside Xbox and all that aside, like, if you've got nothing shown for the casual market, no one's going to even know that it exists.
Correct. Correct.
It just makes no sense. But big shout out again to Sir Galahad, I think it was. Like, that was a great point.
Yeah, that definitely was. Real quick, I have to shout out two people. Eric the Red with the absolutely outstanding $2 super chat. And he says, and I hope he's right, likelihood of a Crackdown 3 Super Bowl commercial. You know, here's the thing, Eric. I agree with you. I think that would be phenomenal. But that also requires Microsoft spending money on advertising. So I'm not going to hold my breath. I have to say, until Boom gets the position in there and I move my family over to Redmond in Seattle and I start making the big decisions, I don't know if they're going to do the advertising that Boom would do. Also, real quick, I have to shout out Chaos Theory. He always talks to me through DM, also on Xbox Live, with the outstanding $4 super chat. And he says, how's it going, Boom and Welsh? Glad to be here live. And yes, sir, we are very happy to have you. Thank you for hanging out. But you know what? Let's move on to a fun topic.
Sorry, Boom, I do this every time.
No, please, by all means, talk away. This is a conversational podcast.
It's just regarding what that guy said about the Super Bowl. I think in theory, that's a phenomenal idea, but I think in all, it would be a huge waste of money when Phil and team tomorrow could put out a tweet or just upload a video on their YouTube channel, and it would get obviously it wouldn't get it wouldn't be on the at the Super Bowl on the big stage, but it would still be out there for next to no price whatsoever. And then when it concerns the Super Bowl, I'm pretty sure that rumor has it that they're going to be showing the Avengers Endgame trailer there. So
yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
So I mean, I know they show more than one thing, but say for example, they show the new Star Wars trailer, the Avengers Endgame trailer, and the Crackdown 3 trailer over the course of the evening with the Super Bowl. Who the fuck is going to remember Crackdown 3 after they see the Avengers Endgame trailer? Like, it'd be money, like they'd be flushing money down the toilet. They're better off just sticking with something simple, get some ads out on YouTube, get a video up on your Xbox YouTube channel, post out some pictures and clips on Twitter. The rest writes itself. Fans of the game will share it. Me and you will talk about it. Other channels will talk about it. That is how you advertise. Just do what Days Gone and all the other PlayStation guys are doing, for God's sake.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. I mean, listen, the Super Bowl is watched by so many people, and more importantly, it's watched by a lot of casuals. So even though I hear what you're saying, I still would like to have at least one commercial, because you see, the thing is this: they do one commercial, but after that one commercial, it's those Super Bowl ads are played for weeks afterwards. So they wouldn't have to do anything new. It would just be the Crackdown 3 trailer, get it on game, do a Game Pass / Crackdown 3 trailer. Sell both of them, sell your service with a smile and say, hey, Crackdown 3, if you don't have Game Pass, you can buy it. But if you have Game Pass for $10 a month, it comes in there. Do something inventive. Again, Terry Crews, ex-football player. Right? What better a spot to have him on than during the Super Bowl, yelling and screaming, breaking through doors and shooting things. I mean,
woo!
Exactly.
Super Bowl, baby! Super Bowl,
and I'm going to say this right now: when the Gears of War movie comes out, if he's not cast as Coltrane, I'm leaving the theater before I even watch the film. I'm going to tell you that right now, because there'd be no one better for that. But anyway, let's talk about a fun topic now. You and I, we run in a lot of circles, with the dealer gamings and the Mooches and the Colt Eastwoods and the Iron Lord podcasts and the Basement Radio Arcade guys. We have a significant amount of people that we roll in, but as of this particular show, no one is talking about E3 2019. So BoomStick and Welsh Gaming are going to dazzle and delight and look into our crystal ball, or our imaginary crystal ball anyway, and talk about E3. And, look, here's the thing. With Sony removing themselves from the equation, this is a golden opportunity for Microsoft to go for the juggler. And I've said this numerous times, and that comes with a great deal of pressure as well, because, look, I mean, when they're there with Nintendo and Sony, they're all competing against each other for what? For the press to talk about their conference. Who won E3? Who had the best games? Who had the best exclusives? Whatever. Well, Nintendo, they are Nintendo, right? We know what they're going to bring. They're going to have their Treehouse event. They're going to show off a couple of new things, and it's going to be what you expect. Who knows? We may even get Metroid Prime 4. 1 year when they had Zelda Breath of the Wild coming out, the whole entire conference was just one game, Welsh, and they got away with it, and it was an amazing one because they made it like a Disneyland, and everywhere you walked, it was like you're walking in the world of Hyrule. And this year, like I said, Sony had completely pulled out of E3. They're not going to be there in any facet, and this is look, let me just say this, Drew. Let's play pretend for a second. I haven't done that since I was, 6 or 7 when I was pretending I was Luke Skywalker. But let's pretend that we're both sitting on the pre-production meetings at Redmond for a second, and we're thinking about this. In my opinion, and I want to get yours as well. There needs to be 3 things that Xbox enthusiasts, gamers, and casuals need to take away from the conference in June. I broke it down, and I kind of just want to list all three, and then I'll get your particular opinions on it. You know what? How about this? Let's do the first one, and then I'll get your opinion. First, a clear and concise message on what the three SKUs mean to everyone of those that I just listed: diehards, non-owning Xbox gamers, and the casual market that only buy 3 and 4 games per year. Tell them all why the Xbox brand is for them, and tell them that everyone can afford to be an Xbox gamer. What are your takeaways from this particular first part of 3?
It's arguably the most important because it's not been done before, as it's like the 3-prong attack, as we've talked about before. The fact that they are literally going for all 3 tiers of the community. It's like the why this bit's so important is because it's the best opportunity to grab the casuals by the collar. Because obviously the most important thing is really getting out there that you've got your budget entry, and then you got your mid tier, and then your premium system. It's better to be more transparent is the main thing. So I think clear messaging on what these 3 SKUs are for, which one, what each one represents. So people watching the conference can be like, I know what one I'm going to put my money down on. Because some people might look and be like, I'm not interested in the Anaconda. I want the Lockhart. Or, I'm not worrying about Lockhart or Anaconda. I'm just going to get the Maverick or the X-Cloud, should I say. Do you get what I mean? It's like clear-cut advertising, clear-cut information, so people can make up their minds there and then, opposed to this guessing game that people have been playing for months now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, what you said was perfect. I think that, being clear, being concise, knowing your audience, knowing who each console is for, is going to do them a significant amount of service moving forward into the next generation. You target your casuals with the ProjectX-Cloud $100 $100 to $150 box, because people, casual gamers, are never going to spend that $500. The percentile of out of 100% is like in single digits that you're going to get an exclusive to get them to buy a $500 or $600 console. But when you say, hey, for $100, you can get in on ground floor on the Xbox, and PS, by the way, for $10 a month, you can have access to over 200 games. You got to remember, there are many of the PlayStation community that have always been Sony people. And that's perfectly okay. They like their brand. There's nothing wrong with that. That loyalty should be applauded, because that's their brand that they like and they go with it. But if you offer if you offer the $100 console to them, and you say, okay, listen, it's not going to be 4K 60 ray tracing and all of this, bells and whistles that the $500 or $600 box is going to have, but they can still play their games in 4K 30, let's just say, because we don't know where the technology is going to be. For all we know, they may have it up to 4K 60 on the streaming box. I don't know, but we know that the Azure cloud is a big deal for them. So if you offer an affordable console to those casual marketers, you have a chance of you're not going to steal them away from Sony. I don't think that's ever going to happen, because they're invested in that ecosystem. Or ecosystem, pardon my French, but you're also going to get them to now play games, subscribe to your service, to buy your $100 box. It doesn't have to be one or the other. I mean, I'm a perfect example of that. I support all 3 consoles, and I absolutely love doing it. And I think other people would as well. But before I move on to the second point, do you have anything you'd like to add, Welsh?
Shockingly, no.
Okay,
I said everything I can. They just need to be clear, transparent. Let everybody know what each SKU is for, and they can't go wrong.
Yes, well, that's great. Okay, now here's the second point, and I think this is a common sense, but I'm going to say it anyway. Games, and more games. Second and third party marketing deals are an absolute must. There has to be a strong fall lineup for the second half of 2019. And as of today's date, as of this particular show, this is what we know they have coming out that are exclusives to the Xbox brand. They have, let's see, what do we got here? We have Crackdown 3, which a lot of people don't know about, shamefully enough. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, that game with the fox called Tunic, which looks absolutely insane. I cannot wait to play that. Battletoads and Gears 5 are set to release this year. But in my opinion, and tell me if I'm wrong, because I'll accept it if you say so, or the chat, tell me if I'm wrong, there needs to be at least 2 to 3 surprises for the fan base to get us to stand up and cheer. That are, when you cut us, we bleed green. What are your takeaways on the point number 2 of E3 2019?
Oh, mate, games. Mate, I completely agree. I mean, we already have an idea of certain things to expect, but if I expect to see, but I would like a few surprises along the way. Fable. Honestly, that'll never get old until Phil either gives me a Fable or sends me a personal letter with his signature and a photo of him with his thumbs up, like this is actually me, that says, and I quote, "There's not going to be Fable, you crazy Welsh bastard." Unless one of those two things happen, I'm going to keep crying for Fable. But still, bottom line, we've had some amazing acquisitions since 2018 and now, between E3 and now, from the ones they announced to the ones they didn't announce formally on the stage, but have come out in the woodwork, like Obsidian. And I just want to see more on what they're doing as well. Like, they've been working on whatever they've been working on for some time. We don't know what it is yet. Playground Games is another one. We know they're working on something. Use this platform to excite us, get us talking, get everyone thinking about what the hell is going on behind closed doors. The Initiative is another one. Just like the first quadruple A developer. Show us at least one of your potentially multiple projects. Give us something to chew on. Surprise the hell out of us. Games.
Well, you're going to like point number 3. And here we go. If 2020 is where we're going to hear, or more importantly, see what the Initiative, Playground Games, 343 Industries, Rare, Ninja Theory, Obsidian, In Exile, and many of the recent additions to the Microsoft first-party division are working on, then we absolutely must be shown a roadmap. This is okay. Now I want to say this, and I think everyone's going to agree with me. This I'll wait till next E3 ideology that we've been hanging on to for so many years is not working for me. And as a diehard fan, I believe, and I honestly, with all my heart, say that we deserve more. E3 2019 is the perfect time to show the world why the Xbox brand will, in fact, be taking the lead once again. What are your thoughts on point number 3 of E3 2019?
I'm kind of going to answer the same way I answered for the first point about the SKUs. This roadmap needs to be as transparent as humanly possible. Now, I'm not on about announcing games that are so early in development, blah blah blah. I mean, we played that game early this generation with games like Crackdown and Scalebound, and look what happened. But games that are fully established in how deep and how far into their development it is, and it's inevitable that the development will finish and that the game will hit the shelf. Any game that has hit that level of what would you even that stage in its development, I want to hear about. Do you know what comes to mind though when you said the roadmap for Xbox's first party? And I think it'd be pretty impressive if they did something like this. You know what Marvel does at Comic-Con, showing the phases for the Marvelverse, like with all the films, like they show the year, even under certain code names, like when it was Avengers Infinity War Part 1 and 2, when, in fact it's Infinity War and Endgame. Like the name can change, the game can change. Maybe just show us like a date with the name of the developer, so we know that something by that developer is going to be announced or shown or releasing on that date. That for me would be an awesome way to just Give us the facts. Like, boom, here you go. Expect something on this date by this developer. And even better, again, if they're confident, show us the game that they're working on. Give us that kind of roadmap, kind of like a family tree. I'd love to see that kind of transparency. I'm probably so far-fetched in my claim or request, but like I said in the previous point, like when it comes to games, I like, you know, Xbox needs to be on everyone's mind by the end of 2019 going into 2020, and a great roadmap between now and maybe even 2020, and maybe even beyond that. Just show us a load of shit, especially from these acquisitions. Like, more the merrier. I think it could. Like, what do you reckon though on that whole Marvel tree thing I was on about?
Well, I mean, look, here's the thing. Again, I think this is simple logic, but when you look at what Marvel's Studios, what the MCU has been able to do in a 10-year block, as opposed to what the DCEU has done. One is heralded as the champion of justice, and the other one gets tomatoes thrown at it. Now, again, I'm not saying every DC movie is bad, because quite frankly, I loved Wonder Woman. I think it was one of the finest films of that year. Justice League, say what you want. I know a lot of people have hate for it. I watch it every time it's on cable. I actually enjoyed the film. I'm not going to lie. And of course, you know, the rest, you know, I mean, you know, you can take it or leave. Man of Steel was good. Suicide Squad was okay. BVS, terrible. You know, again, I like superhero movies, so I watched them all. I did not see Aquaman. I heard everyone that saw it said it was absolutely amazing. I hope that this is the starting point of something big for the DCEU, because I think the fans deserve an MCU quality. But I like your comparisons. They let people know what you're doing, right? Like, you know, in the past, and you brought it up at these Comic Cons, they'll give you a title and they'll give you a date, and they work damn hard to make sure that movie comes out on that date. Now, have films
Or at least
slipped?
close. Or at least close.
Yeah, right. If, as close as they can get to it, but have films slipped? Sure, because development issues happen. A perfect example of that is Guardians 3. Look what happened with the director. All of those sex pics that came out on Twitter, right? I mean, it was disastrous. So we're not getting Guardians of the Galaxy probably till 2021, when it was supposed to come out in early 2020. So it slipped. Things happen. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to show us something. And if it slips, well, guess what? It slips.
No, well, I mean, like, Scalebound, like, is a perfect example. They hyped that up. They shown that it looked good. No one can deny it looked good, and they canned it for reasons behind closed doors that a lot of people don't understand even now. Like, bottom line, the developer was dog shit. They were using the money that Microsoft was giving them on other projects behind their closed doors, as well as on pizza and Uber drivers, and they weren't concentrating on Scalebound. No, but that's what. At the end of the day, they weren't doing their job and they got axed. It was that simple. It's not Xbox's fault that Scalebound got axed. Like, it's not Marvel's fault that Guardians 3 had to be canned for the time being. It's things that happen behind closed doors with production. And I just think there's no harm in giving us a roadmap and giving us some things to look forward to, even if the odd thing doesn't come to fruition because of things that can't be helped, at least on the Xbox side of things. So I'm with you, Boom, man. I think, like, clear vision, clear planning, give us something to chew on, give us something to look forward to, give us a roadmap so we got dates and things to, like, explicitly, like, put into our calendars almost. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all.
No, I absolutely agree. You know what? And when you talk about roadmap, I need to bring in to the room. Unfortunately, he's not here live. Maybe one day, but Xbox boss Phil Spencer teases future platforms and continued AMD partnership, dealing the future roadmap of the Xbox platform. This interview was pulled directly from an interview that he had during CES 2019. And this is exactly what Phil Spencer had to say. And it's pretty interesting, Drew. As a company, we look at the opportunity in gaming. And one of the things I want to say is when we think who our partners are, we think about great companies that do great work, but also do it in the right way. As we look forward to future platforms that we are building and work that we are currently doing, the partnership and the innovations that we've seen in the past have led to what we've been able to do today. I think they're going to be a critically important part of our future endeavors. I'm really looking forward to showing those to the people that could support the Xbox brand in the future. Now, Drew, in December of 2018, Microsoft insider Brad Sams reported that the next Xbox would release in 2020. I think this is pretty much a lock at this point, and use AMD's next generation GPU and Zen 2 processor. Spencer's speech at CES is the closest we've come to any kind of confirmation that this information is true. What are your takes on the confirmation that AMD is working closely, and I mean really closely, building the next Xbox for its fan base?
Well, like I've said before, I'm not really that well versed when it comes to specs and stuff, but AMD, they've been working with them at AMD for years now, haven't they? I mean, as far as I know, they've been closely working with AMD for a long time, and they brought us the Xbox One X and the One S with the Surface Pro team and all these different things coming into play. I just think the fact that they're still working very closely with AMD shows that they have a good working relationship, and that like their parts and their specs, their components like are obviously well suited for the construction and building of the Xbox console, and it suits well and fits well into like how it works coexisting with their software and their ecosystem and all these other things. Again, everything I just said might be hogwash because I don't really understand to a really high level when it comes to like specs. But
Yeah, me either. Yeah, I tune into the Dealer Gaming and the Colt Eastwoods of the world. Zalker87 is another one. If you're not following that dude, they are very they're like technical wizards when it comes to the actual innards of these consoles. So if you really want, I mean, this is just you and me. You and me, we're just talking. We're gamers,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
If you want
Well, I mean,
technical aspects, tune into them.
no, for sure, for sure. Well, just on principle, it's like if you've got like a brand new Ferrari, and once a month you like to get it cleaned. Obviously you want it
Right.
waxed. You want when the sun's shining, you want it to glisten off the edge of those rims and those bumpers. You want people to see like, this is what hard work gets you. But you're not going to go to a cleaner if they don't know what they're fucking doing. Like if you went to, at the end of the day, if you are consistently going to the same car cleaning company every single month, consistent for years, like years and years and years, you've owned this Ferrari, and every month, at the end of the month or the beginning of every month, you go to this exact same car cleaner because they do their fucking job and they do their job well.
Right.
So it's the same thing with AMD and Xbox. If AMD wasn't, playing their part, they weren't doing their side of the agreement well, and they weren't producing the right equipment, the right tools, the right, tech for Xbox, then well, let's just assume that Xbox would have walked the other way a long time ago. So obviously they have a very good working relationship with AMD, and like I said, spec wise, I can't go any further because I don't know, but just talking on principle, that speaks a lot. That says a lot. It says that Xbox are happy to go back to AMD, and they're providing what they need in terms of like building the next level shit in terms of console building, console development.
Yeah, well, listen, we know that Phil Spencer has already said publicly that they will never relinquish power ever again. That's a confirmed fact. But this, I kind of want to move on to part B of this particular topic. When you talk about future, you talk about what they're doing in 2019 and beyond, and you have to bring up marketing deals. Marketing deals in 2018, in my opinion, were they were okay. Unfortunately, they didn't have the big ponies, if you will. They backed Fallout 76. Kind of know what happened with that. Battlefield 5, fantastic game now, kind of launched with some issues. We know who their first party games were. I happen to enjoy them all. I didn't play CFDs very much. It's just not my thing. But a State of Decay 2, I put 60 hours in. Forza Horizon 4, we're going to talk about in a second, breaking all kinds of records in regards to players. Game is gorgeous. But Drew, you and I have discussed Phil Spencer and company. We're slowly turning the ship. I think we've said that on numerous shows. But in 2019, man, it kind of looks like their hard work is starting to pay off, because they're starting out the year big, in my opinion, when it comes to the Xbox brand and its marketing deals. And they have teamed up with some of the biggest games of at least the first 4 or 5 months of this year, maybe even the first 6 months of this year. We know Crackdown 3 is coming out, right? Let's hope that they right the wrongs of that. But let's talk about who they marketed with, and they have marketing deals. Now, I'm hoping that there's going to be more than just an Xbox logo at the end of a commercial, that we get some sort of exclusive gear. Like, for instance, the first one I want to talk about is Anthem. Anthem is going to be a big game. We talked about that at the beginning of the show. The VIP demo starts tonight at midnight. I'm going to be staying up to play that and Resident Evil 2. I would love, and I think it would be a travesty of justice if we didn't get some sort of a Master Chief overlay armor, with just the colors or something. Give me something Halo related. Give me a Gears of War related. Give me something that screams Xbox. Hell, I don't care if you dress my Javelin as a car from Forza. I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? Let Forza down the leg or something. I'll take it. I just think that we need something like that. The Division 2, another ginormous game. I'm absolutely stoked. I think what Massive Entertainment has done from 1 to 2 is leaps and bounds better. Metro Exodus, I also have pre-ordered. I cannot.
Give me that game immediately.
It just looks fantastic. And the last one, which just had a big reveal last week, I know UK Dazarus in the chat. He's excited. He's had this pre-ordered since it was available. Mortal Kombat 11 is going to be marketed by Xbox. Drew, what are your takes on these 4 big games? And it seems like Phil Spencer got it. These are the biggest games of 2019 so far, and to have Microsoft marketing them is a big deal. What are your takes on that?
It is a big deal, Boom. It is a big deal. They need to be paddled to the metal.
Yes.
I twisted my tongue then. They need to be paddled to the metal with these deals, and I fully expect to see more of this from here on out, especially, and this can't be overstated, especially next generation. But these are 4 great games, Boom, and all of them are going to be absolutely phenomenal. I can't wait for each and every one of them. The 3 that pop out for me is Metro, Division, and Anthem. I'm not the biggest Mortal Kombat fan, but nonetheless, it's a popular franchise. Xbox did the right thing in grabbing that, getting the marketing deals for it. And I completely agree when it comes to maybe cosmetics, and give it an Xbox twist. Give the Xbox gamers who have bought these games that little Xbox twang, whether it be, like you said, a Javelin that's like, COG themed or Master Chief themed. I'm all for that. But yeah, I think 2019 and beyond. The funny thing is, though, like, obviously Xbox has come out and grabbed these by the balls, and we can talk about all day, like, marketing deals and how Xbox needs to go after them. And I'll back that horse all the way, Boom, as I'm sure you would too. But I will say this, though. If Anaconda is as powerful and as capable as we can speculate it to be, and hypothetically, if it does in fact outshine PS5 in every possible way, I think it'll actually be the developers asking Microsoft for marketing deals, not the other way around.
Listen, look, what you're saying, again, is extremely common sense knowledge. If you are a developer of game A, and you have to develop it for the PC, for the Xbox, for the PlayStation, possibly the Switch, because they're getting a lot of third-party support now. You're going to want to put your best version on a console. Listen, PC gaming is big, and I know that it has millions and millions and millions of players, probably 3-4 times the amount of players on all the systems. But at the end of the day, guys like me who just want to sit down in front of their TV on their couch and start a game and be done with it. I don't want to do settings. I don't want to do drivers. I don't want to do, tweaking. I want it to be done for me. Millions of players are like that. They're going to want to put it out on the best console. If the Anaconda is the best running console, guess what, folks? That's where is going to be the best place to play. Very simple.
No, absolutely. But in terms of right here, right now, these 4 marketing deals are very good picks for Xbox, and I'm glad that they've done it. I just wish they'd have this level of perseverance and determination with their own first party.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why we're hearing more about Anthem and The Division and Metro and Mortal Kombat than we are about Crackdown. I know, between now and its release, Crackdown could get more and whatever, but still, it's not really good luck for your first party games. But right here, those are, oh man, honestly, Boom, I can't wait for Anthem. The Division's going to be class. Honestly, Metro Exodus and The Division, I had the pleasure of playing the dev kits at EGX 2018, and those games are, honestly, people are in for a real treat. But, I think they're turning a new leaf. Xbox need to put the pedal to the metal and keep doing this.
Yeah, no, I agree. I got a chance. I was privileged enough to be a part of the Anthem Alpha. I am not going to discuss what I played because obviously I want EA. Not that they listen to this show. I mean, come on, no one knows about the show, and that's okay. That's fine. But you know what? I do respect the NDA, and I'm going to say this. All I'm going to say is that I cannot wait to speak about it at midnight tonight, because I could really go into what Anthem is going to look like on the X. It is astonishing what that game is going to be, and it is not Destiny or Destiny 2. It is really its own beast, and I cannot wait for everyone to play it. But you know what? You said first party, and what comes to mind is the next topic, and that is Forza Horizon 4 crosses 7 million players on the Xbox One and PC, proving once again that this Microsoft exclusive is by far the best racing series ever to grace the console and PC market. This story was pulled from the pages of WindowsCentral.com. And they say Forza Horizon 4 launched a few months ago, and gamers are loving the open world racing experience. The game features upgraded visuals and a shared world for an even more community-focused experience. The user feedback seems to be great, and the title also garnered a lot of critical acclaim from numerous outlets. The game is currently sitting at a 92 on Metacritic with over 80 reviews. And in a recent message from Playground Games, now owned by Microsoft, they just launched the Fortune Island expansion. And I'm not sure how many people got a chance to play that. It is unbelievable. The weather is really just makes you sit back in your seat and just want to watch the lightning strikes and the rain and everything. And here's a message from the official Twitter account of the Forza Motorsport, and it says this: what a start to 2019. 1 month after the launch of Fortune Island expansion, we're celebrating more than 7 million people who have played. We are Playground's Forza Horizon 4 since launch. Thank you, Forza fans. Drew, first of all, there's a couple of big takeaways from this. If you remember, there were a lot of people, even within the Xbox community, and again, I'm not going to mention names, everyone knows who they are, were screaming foul and saying that Xbox first-party games were going to fail because of Game Pass. And this is a steaming example of why that was false, and why Game Pass is literally the second coming of gaming, in my opinion. 7 million people played Forza, and I have tons, and I mean at least over a dozen people that I know that do not play racing games. Saltiest Gaming being one of those gamers who said admittedly that he would have never purchased Forza, but played it in Game Pass, and he's now a huge fan. This is why there are 7 million people that played the game. What are your takeaways on this number?
Right, Boom. I gave this some thought, but I got a nice chunky answer for you. Basically, like 7 million, like wow. No, but can I just quickly say that Forza Horizon 4 is just in itself, when it comes to races, just an amazing feat. Like I've said to you before, Boom. Like as a gamer, like I used to be big on my races back in the day, but kind of lost interest in races years ago. But the one game that always pops up when Playgrounds, pops up for air and shows what they're working on, that takes gets that little twinkle in my eye is Forza's Horizon games. Like I think they are amazing. While I don't play a great deal of them, I like them. I have played a bit of Forza Horizon 4 thanks to Game Pass, but just 10 minutes of your time on that game and it's cemented there and then that is like the standard that racers should be aiming for. I've said that before, but I'll happily say it again. But bottom line here, with all this news, everything that's been said, what we're talking about here and what you're asking me, when most, if not all, media outlets are actually praising an Xbox title, you know that you've done something right. Now, for that, Playground needs to tap themselves on the back, because they're doing something that not a lot of first-party devs can actually say they've done, is get pretty much universal praise from community and the media. So I'll give them a clap. But for me personally, it truly does make me smile to see yet another Xbox exclusive that has dropped into Xbox Game Pass do extraordinarily well. As me and you, Boom, we have been huge advocates of Game Pass. And this, as well as, other instances, is just further proof that Phil is a genius.
Yes.
Honestly, Xbox Game Pass is garnering its huge success through the business decision to drop games like Forza Horizon 4 day one. And as you can see by the player count, the game's success has not been affected in the slightest. You could even argue this has helped the game's rise to fame. As think about it, you just said about Salty as well. How many people are playing Forza Horizon 4 that wouldn't have initially gone out to buy it because of Game Pass?
Yep.
And I know I'm one of these people, Boom. I am one of these people. I would not have gone out and bought it, but here I am. It's downloaded on my Xbox, and I fully intend to go back to it, and I've played a great deal of it already. I even got my friend to download it because he's on Game Pass, and he hates races, and he's enjoying it. It's simply genius, Boom. And literally, the only people who think that Game Pass is not genius, the people who complained all this time, the only people who say otherwise are narrow-minded fools.
Yeah, I agree.
It's literally that simple. In terms of accomplishment, though, in terms of Playground and their accomplishment, I think Playground Games need to be very proud, as they are one step closer to their ultimate goal, Boom. And I think you'll remember it if I say it, and that is to be the best developer in the world. They have come out and said that that's what they want to do. And the fact that Forza Horizon 4 has had this level of success, despite the fact it was on Game Pass day one, which is suicide for game developers, it's literally proven that they are a talented company. And furthermore, Xbox, once again, Phil is a genius for snapping them up first party. This is just great news. Great news for Forza fans. Great news for Playground. Great news for Xbox gamers, as it just shows that we've got a great developer under the Xbox wing. I'm excited, man. And this news is nothing but good. Puts a smile on my face for sure, especially as an advocate like yourself, Boom, for Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, I mean, look, I keep saying it. Look for those sales. Check your Amazons. Check your dashboard. Every now and again, they throw that 6 months for $30 or 6 months for $40. I'm paid up to almost the end of 2020, and as soon as I'm able to drop another $60 for 12 months, I'm going to do it again, because even though I buy everything, as Mooch always says, hashtag shopping for Boom. I still support it because there are a lot of games that I don't have to buy. Microsoft's first party being more specific. I mean, okay, yeah, I bought Forza Horizon 4, the $100 edition, because I wanted all the DLC. It was just too good to pass up. So, again, for my birthday, I got, a bunch of Xbox gift cards, and that's what I spent it on. But you know what? Speaking of Xbox, and when you think of Xbox, what do you think about? I think about Halo and the Master Chief. This story I pulled from Polygon. And it goes as such. The Master Chief Collection is what happens when a studio doesn't give up on a game, and with everything 343 has done to make it right with fans, I'm more confident now than I've ever been in that particular studio. Now, Drew, we know that there have been plenty of titles that have had a slow start in the end and made a comeback worthy of talking about. The Division 1, Destiny 1, Rainbow Six Siege, No Man's Sky comes to mind. But when you think about the Master Chief Collection, it's old. It launched in 2014, so it's got some, it's up there. But at the same time, it's really made some strides to be the ultimate Halo collection, and of course it's included in Xbox Game Pass. But as interesting as that is, what are your takes on Polygon doing a story to applaud 343 for not giving up on this game?
I think it's amazing. I'm glad it's getting the recognition. That's for damn sure. Because they could have walked away at any time, Boom. I think, when you really think about it, I think many people would have walked away for a lot less of a reason to walk away, if that makes sense. Did that come out correctly? I don't know if that made sense, but you know what I mean. I think it's fantastic. The fact that they have stayed true to their word and they wanted to bring us the collection, and it did start off very buggy, very broken, but the fact that they continue to do it and they're getting recognition from outlets and media, I'll be honest, I would have fully expected the hate train to come in, but the fact they're giving them praise, I'm all for that, Boom.
Yeah, look, say what you want. Again, this is not a major topic of today's show. I just thought it was interesting that we're hearing someone actually write about the Master Chief Collection this late. But you know what? In a story that I literally just pulled prior to us going live from GameInformer.com, according to this, 343 Industries is teasing Halo the Master Chief Collection news that's significant at this year's South by Southwest event that's coming out. Now, I had a question in here that I originally wasn't going to speak about, and again, I don't know how it worked out, but this article broke. So now I'm going to ask the question to the chat as well as you. At this point of the Halo Master Chief Collection, every Halo first FPS title is there. I mean, it's an outstanding collection. Every Halo game you could possibly want is there, but one is missing. And that is probably one of my favorites. And that, of course, is Halo Reach. Now, here's my question to the chat. Here is my question to you, Drew. Is it high time that we get the 4K 60 remaster in this collection to seal the deal, and should it be free?
Well, what I think personally is they should have put Reach on there a while ago.
Right.
It's never too late, don't get me wrong, but it's a hard one because I do doubt at this point that it would be a full remaster like Halo 2 Anniversary. As that would take up a lot of time and resources, which is otherwise being used, and they're busy with Halo Infinite. But I think that we will, in fact, see Halo Reach drop on the Master Chief Collection as like a back compat sort of option, kind of like Halo 3 and Halo 4, but with the 4K enhancements. I have a very good feeling that'll happen eventually. Sooner the better, but I can confidently say that will happen. It will be free for anyone who has Master Chief Collection. It'll be a patch, an update. It'll go on there just like any of the other titles before it. But I'll just say this. I sincerely doubt at this point, at least not anytime soon, we'll see a remaster because of how heavily invested they are in Halo Infinite. But a patch to get it on there with the 4K enhancements, I could see that happening, Boom, absolutely. And it would, if it wasn't free, then that's a huge slap in the face. So I reckon it will be free.
Yeah, someone said in the chat that a Halo 3 ODST wasn't free, and that's actually incorrect. If you purchased the Master Chief Collection initially, that was given away for free as a, hey, we effed up. Thanks for sticking by us. If I recall that story correctly, I didn't pay for ODST. That again, another masterpiece. It should be in there. Yes, I understand it's not technically Master Chief, but a Halo game is a Halo game, and every Halo game should be in there. But you know what? Let's move on to the next topic, Drew. I've seen a lot of people excited about the Division 2. A lot of chatter within the chat today. A lot like me, I'm super stoked for it. Obviously, I put about 1,000 hours, maybe more, maybe 15, close to 1,500 hours into the Division 1. I loved it. I know a lot of people, didn't, they liked it. They played it. They moved on, whatever, fine. But I'm going to be playing with guys like Neo Mental, my brother, Slow-Mo, Backslap, and Def Jam Bam, and quite a few people within this amazing community. I cannot wait. But what's interesting about this story, and I think I want to get your take on this, because when you talk about games as a service, we know that all DLC for the Division is going to be free, all story DLC, and that in itself is amazing. But I think what's more amazing is that, and it has been confirmed by Massive Entertainment, that the Division 2's initial launch story is 40 plus hours in length. And that's music to my ears, because that's going to keep players coming back for a long time. When you say, when you think of one and done games, and I hate that term, because, if you're having fun, it doesn't matter whether it's, 20 hours or 500 hours. As long as you're having fun, that's all that really matters. You talk about a game like Spider-Man. I put 60 hours into it. God of War, I put 60 hours into it. But the Division, it's not a first-party title. It's a third-party title. But the fact that it's going to have 40 hours, Drew, is going to keep people invested. And we know that there's going to be 3 dark zones this time, not one, a tremendous amount of PvP, a tremendous amount of PvE. What are your takes on this confirmation of a 40-hour plus story?
Oh, man, I can't wait for Division 2, dude. You mentioned the dark zone. I'll be honest. I loved the Division 1 and its story and everything. The one thing that was daunting as hell was the dark zone.
Yeah, it was flawed, for sure.
Mate, I loved the idea. Don't get me wrong, and I'm fully ready and wanting to see another version of the dark zone, but they need to improve the ranking system, because from what I remember in the early days of Division 1, they were putting me in the dark zone with ridiculously high level people, and I would just get my ass kicked left and right. Yeah. But anyway, that's by the by. But in answer to your question, though, Boom, Boom, me and you are on the same level, dude. This is why, we're brothers from another mother. That pond can't get between us, bro. We bleed green. But literally, it's music to my ears too. You said when you said those words, it just hit me. It is literally music to my ears. Because when I buy a game, as we've said countless times, gaming is not cheap. So when I buy a game, I want bang for my buck. We all know the Division 2 with the Dark Zone, online co-op. You're going to have replayability after the single player if you choose to play single player on your own. Based off of the Division 1, that is. I can say that is a given at this point. But to pay full price knowing that you are going to be spending a minimum of 40 hours on the single player, and it will have a clear-cut narrative from beginning to end, because the story is going to be very impactful, apparently, with this one.
Yep.
It gets me very excited. I'm very, very, very excited. I can't wait to play more of this game and immerse myself into the story, as what I played at EGX was outstanding. And the fact that the DLC is going to be free as well, Boom, take my money.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And real quick, I just kind of want to update everybody, because Ubisoft put out a presser regarding the story and where the game picks up. And I kind of want to just, because a lot of people don't know where the game picks up, so I'm going to break it down. According to the presser, it says 7 months have passed since the deadly virus hit New York City and the rest of the world, crippling the population. When the virus hit, the Division, a unit of civilian sleeper agents, was activated as the last line of defense. Since then, Division agents have been fighting relentlessly to save what remains. And it continues with, for the Division, the stakes are higher than ever. Washington, D.C., the most heavily protected city on Earth, is at risk, leaving the entire nation on the brink of collapse. If Washington, D.C. is lost, then the nation falls. As a Division agent who has been in the field for 7 months, you and your team are the last hope to stop the fall of society after the pandemic collapse. Now, this is a lot of incredible information. And, again, I'm a huge fan of Tom Clancy as an author. I'm a huge fan of Ubisoft as a developer. But more importantly, I am an absolute freak nasty fan of the Division. I have cosplayed at Comic-Con as one.
Nasty.
I love everything about the Division. I like the sleeper agent, aspect of it. I love the customization of your character. I love all the different guns. I'm a gadget kind of a guy, so I played with all the gadgets. I thought it was amazing. And again, this is an Xbox marketing title. It's going to look best on the X. Let's just throw it out there again. And I honestly cannot wait for March. I know you said it, but I want to ask again, in the chat, if this is a day one buy for you, throw one out there. And if this is a one that you're going to kind of wait on, throw it two. But Drew, what are your takes on the Division? Are you going to buy this day one?
I intend to.
Okay.
Like I said in the chat earlier, I can only afford Anthem or Division if at this point in time. So I was saying to the chat, type 1 for Anthem, type 2 for the Division. Which one do I get? Because I am so torn. I want them both. Division 2. I loved the Division 1. I absolutely loved the Division 1. And playing Division 2 at EGX just got my taste buds going. I'm very excited for Division 2, and I fully recommend it to anyone out there who hasn't played Division before. It's very good. I have full intention of getting it, Boom, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, look, listen, I want to pre-order the collector's edition. No surprise. The only problem with the collector's edition is it's $180, and that it comes with a statue, a dark zone, someone in the dark zone firing off the flare, and I want it in the worst way. My only problem with the way Ubisoft does it is it's not technically a pre-order, it's a pre-buy. So there's no way to kind of stash your money away and pre-order it and be good to go like you would like a GameStop or a Game or an Amazon. They take the money right away, and I don't like that kind of business. Because if you want to cancel, you can't, and that's kind of like the Gestapo. I don't like that kind of tactics. So I'm gonna see if I can put the money together on the side, and then I'm gonna order it because I have the Division 1 statue. It actually it actually lights up, which is just astonishing. It's so nice. So I have to get this. I will figure out a way. But you know what? This has been an absolutely outstanding 93 minutes of some of the best Xbox podcasting I think you're going to get. And I have no problem tooting my horn. I know Welsh and I, we pride ourselves in this show. We come each and every week, and we want to give you the best and biggest Xbox news. Some things are, of course, opinionated, and I think that's what makes the show so great. I don't like just reading from the pages of someone else's magazine. I will do that, of course, because I don't have any inside connections. But a lot of these pieces I write up, and I enjoy talking about it and, kind of getting other people's opinions on what both Drew and I talk about. So I want to first of all say this. The chat was outstanding. And thanks to two particular people, UK Dazarus and my newest sheriff, Lethal Papa, they keep the chat honest. They keep out all the trolls. They keep out the racists and everyone that does not belong here. And I appreciate their hard work because, this is a chat that I like people to come to and hang out and have fun. At the end of the day, whether you fly your flag at Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, or all three, we're all gamers and everyone's opinion counts. I do not like it when people bring race or sex or nasty opinions into this chat. And these two guys really, really keep it fresh and up to date. So thank you for that.
Yo,
Of
Boom,
course,
can I interject with something?
please, by all means.
I have to jump on the back of what you're saying. The chat is phenomenal week in, week out. I missed you guys last week, and I absolutely love doing this show. 50% because Boom is my brother, and I absolutely love the work he puts into this. It is a pleasure every week. But you guys in the chat, the other 50%, you are phenomenal people. And if you haven't already and you like the show, like it, share it with your friends, get people on the Boom and Welsh train, get people showing up week in, week out because we love doing this. But Boom, I got to say, before you go into the outros, dude, you got a rare opportunity on your hands here, man.
What's that, sir?
I'm happy. I'm in a position where I can stick around for an extra 25, 30 minutes if you want, if you can or want to do a couple more topics for the fine people in the chat. But I'll leave that to you because I'm actually in a position where I can stick around for a little bit longer if you want to.
Well, you know what? Let's do that because I do have a couple of extra topics I could throw in because I over prepare for these shows. Normally, you can get away coming out with 6 or 7 topics, and I usually bring 13 or at least a dozen or a baker's dozen to the table because you never know when you want to extend the chat and you want to extend the show. And thanks to the Welsh, we're going to extend it. And you know what, Welsh, I want you to take this one away. I saw a tweet from you, and I decided to make this a topic because it bothered you. And according to an Uncharted developer, they said that Gears of War helped make Uncharted the game it was, claims developer, and I think that's pretty damn awesome. But you know what, like I said, Drew, I saw your tweet, and you were kind of bothered by this. Now, look, Uncharted is one of PlayStation's biggest series ever. There's no doubt about it. I happen to love it. I think Nathan Drake is such a modern Indiana Jones. However, though, it kicked off in 2007 with the release of Uncharted Drake's Fortune. And, at the time, the team at Naughty Dog had no idea or no clue, according to the story, what they were doing in certain aspects of the game. And that is where Gears of War comes in. The game released, a year earlier, and it was important to the Xbox platform, but apparently important to the PS3 platform. And this interesting insight comes the way of indie developer Lucas Pope, who was coming off the successful release of the Orba Din in 2018 and Papers, Please before it. However, before Lucas Pope was a solo indie developer making experimental and critically acclaimed indie titles, he was a AAA developer, and he worked for Naughty Dog. His 2 games there were Uncharted 1, Drake's Fortune, and Uncharted 2. But the story continues with before drawing from Gears of War, apparently Naughty Dog was having trouble with the combat and actually had something to do with the auto aiming and auto rolling controls, like Tomb Raider. And take it away, Drew. What are your takes on the fact that this is now publicly coming to light that a game as acclaimed as Gears of War, I guess, kind of helped start and finish the many of the mechanics that we saw in Uncharted?
Boo. No, man, on a serious note, right? When I put out that tweet, right, and sorry, Boo. But no, I literally hold zero zero ill will whatsoever. That tweet literally was more for like a satire. I was kind of like trolling a little. I was hoping someone would bite, and I just put the meme with the fish on the end of the hook, like wee. Realistically, though, like I'm sure lots of developers get inspiration from other games. How can you not? There's so many good games out there, and it's like how does an aspiring game developer in college and stuff like that get their inspiration for their projects they want to pursue? It's because of games they've played. So this isn't a shock to me whatsoever. In fairness, this statement to me just proves that Gears of War is an incredible franchise with arguably, well, actually, there is no argument. It is one of, not if not the best shooter mechanics and cover-based mechanics in the gaming industry, hands down. I'll say that wholeheartedly with all confidence. And despite the flack that ponies may give a game like Gears simply because it's an Xbox exclusive, this simply shows that one of their flagship titles, when you think of PlayStation, you think of Uncharted, Boom, would not have been as immersive and as fun in terms of gun handling and cover shooting if it wasn't for the inspiration taken from Gears of War, which is in itself a huge plus for the guys behind Gears. I bet they're pumping their chests right now. And of course, the guys over at Naughty Dog should be proud that they took inspiration from a very good game. Whether the ponies want to let it sink in, you can imagine them crying at this news, but I think it's good. I honestly, that tweet that was honestly just satire. In all seriousness, all joking aside, all trolling aside, I think there's nothing wrong with developers taking inspiration. Obviously, there's a big difference between taking inspiration and straight out copying. Like if a game copies another game outright, then I'm obviously not behind that. But for the guys behind Uncharted to think, right, our gun play is a bit clunky, it's a bit pants, blah 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 blah, whatever they were talking about behind closed doors, and they looked at Gears of War and thought that is the standard we want to reach to make our game the best it can be. And they brainstormed and tried to mimic that style of gun, cover to cover gunplay. Mate, I think that's fantastic. That just goes into the corner of Gears as why it's so great. That just gives Gears more props. Like that is just proof in the pudding, despite what ponies want to say, that Gears is in fact a fantastic franchise, and it must be good because their flagship title has garnered a lot of success off of the back of what Gears has been doing. So I give them a clap. And I applaud, honestly though, but I applaud Naughty Dog as well for being open about it, because they could have just kept their mouths shut and been like, oh no, that didn't happen. But the fact that they can confidently say like, no, we like Gears of War. Gears of War is a fantastic franchise, and if it wasn't for that game, our game would not have been where it is today. Probably. I think that's great. I think that's phenomenal. Camaraderie between developers. I like it.
Well, you know what? There's two things. First and foremost, do me a favor while I start talking about one of the biggest stories I almost missed. Thank goodness that you said, Boom, let's extend this because this is a big story. That's number one. So I'm going to talk about that. Number two, do me a favor. Check your DM real quick. And as you do that, I will continue with this. This is big news, folks. The last but certainly not least kind of a story. I almost missed this, and I worked real hard on this particular story. I pulled this from WindowsCentral.com. God of War's Chris O'Neill joins Microsoft's The Initiative, and the list keeps growing of the talent base that they seem to be attracting. All I can say is that it is just another feather in the cap of the initiative. Recently, the head of the initiative, Daryl Gallagher, revealed and acclaimed that other big-time developers were coming over to work for the initiative. And I just want to kind of break them down, kind of remind the community of who they got. Brian Westergaard, Annie Lohr, Blake Fisher, Christian Cantamesa, Daniel Newberg, Lindsay McQueenie, and now they have another person that worked on God of War to come over and join the initiative. I mean, look, that is a big deal. and how, apparently the hiring spree at all Microsoft first party studios is far from over. And I think it's going to continue way into 2019. But O'Neill, obviously, he just finished working at Sony Santa Monica, and he's also worked at Kojima Productions. He was the senior staff level designer on God of War, which obviously won many people's game of the year. For me, it came at number 2, only I'm like by a hair of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Drew, listen, at this rate, it's safe to assume that the initiative must have multiple games planned. The talent pool that has been assembled is like nothing we've ever witnessed in gaming. I mean, it's just, there's no comparing this. What are your thoughts on another God of War developer snatched away from Sony Santa Monica?
Well, before I go into this topic, Boom, I gotta say this.
No, don't say it. I told you I was going to do it, and I did it, and that's the end of the story.
No, Matt, Nate, honestly, you are insane. I love you, man. You are incredible. Guys in the chat, this is how amazing this dude is. In my Twitter DM, he have sent me a code for a $60 gift card for Xbox so I can get myself both games. What a gentleman you are, Boom. Honest to God, you man, I got
Listen,
no words.
we're brothers. The community has blessed me more times than I can than I'll ever be able to catch up and admit. They welcomed me into this community. The super chats have been extremely humbling and very, very helpful financially for me. I've purchased many of my collector's editions, but also more importantly, have been able to offer lots of giveaways to the community, and I enjoy doing it. I like giving back to these people. But you know what? You are my co-host. You are my brother. You are my friend. And you said something that kind of hurt me, and I had to take action. You said you couldn't get both games, and now you can. And it is my absolute honor and pleasure to do that. So thank you. I will continue to give back to you, give back to this community the best I can, and also try and buy as many collector's editions as I can as well. But what do you? But listen, you're welcome. Enjoy both games. We'll be playing together for sure. But what are your takeaways on the another God of War developer being snatched away from Sony Santa Monica? I mean, what is going on at the initiative?
Right. Okay. Now that I've composed myself and stopped the tear flows, right. I got you touched my soul there, Boom. I won't. I'm not going to cry. I promise. No, Matt, and the mate, Boom, and the rest, and the bloody rest, the amount of names. Jesus, how many times have I said this, Boom? What the hell are they working on? What the hell are they doing over there, man? Honestly, I have to assume naturally that the 4th A in the quadruple A stamp stands for a lot of games, y'all. A lot of games are coming, because it's no way. Honestly, you've got level designers from Red Dead, Rockstar, GTA, all that stuff. You've got this will be the second or third guy that's come from the people behind God of War. They had the Naughty Dog project leader or project orchestrator or something. They have been grabbing. I'm pretty sure a few people from Playground have stepped up to help with the initiative. That the camaraderie between the first party as well. All these talented people being headhunted. And I've said this before, Boom. They're not just bloody Bob O'Doul down the road who's looking for a job mopping the corridors over at the initiative. These are freaking A-lister development people who are talented folk, who are they are part of the fabric in a very established game development company. They don't need to leave. They've got a job for the rest of their career where they are, and they're choosing to walk away to be part of whatever the initiative is working on. And I say it one more time. What the hell are they working on? Honest to God, honestly, the initiative can't possibly be pulling in all these crazy talented people for just the one title. I personally believe that the initiative is the house for multiple projects. But I will say this: if it is in fact we have to consider it, Boom. If it is in fact just the one title that is being worked on, and they're pulling in all this talent, this must be next level shit, Boom. I don't know what else to say. Like, the news of yet another big name in game development, it just tells me that whatever they're working on must be so good that they all want a piece of the pie.
You do make a lot of sense, but at the same time, this let's take it back for a minute. When the initiative first started, it was touted as a quadruple A, right? A lot of people in the community, we know who they are, made fun, right? Oh, stupid quadruple A, never heard of it. Well, that's actually not entirely true. It's just the amount of monies that is being spent that make it a quadruple A. It has happened in the PS3, Xbox 360 era. This is the first of its kind in this generation. But at the same time, you have to look at who they've hired. And when you read the list of titles, it's always the head of this, head of development, head of that, head of marketing, or all studio head talent. And there's just way too much talent to just say that they're going to be working on one game. Now, again, I don't have this. I'm not a Clobriel. I'm not a Brad Sams. I mean, these guys are actual inside Xbox people. I'm just a guy who likes to read the news. I troll the 4chan forums. I retweet and talk about what Clobriel will say, or Brad Sams, who I've actually had the pleasure of talking to through DM. I don't have those hooks yet. I'm hoping that the show grows, that you, Drew, and I will be talking behind the scenes like, hey, Drew, you're not gonna believe what so and so from Xbox told me. Guess what? Maybe someday. So we can only speculate. But I think being a guy that's 48 years old, a guy who's had a career before him, who has been a boss before, I can say that too many chefs ruined the stew. I think that's pretty common, fair statement to make. I don't think that's like Revelations 101. But at the same time, the talent it's just too much. It's just too much. It's literally too much talent to think that it's just Fable they're working on. I would like to believe that they're going to have an ideology that a lot of this talent that they have hired at the initiative will kind of be loaned out, if you will, to other smaller studios to help make each and every game a big AAA, banger, if you will. And I'd like to think that the initiative is so big. And yes, they just started. We know that, but I think that they're going to be a studio that is going to have 2 or 3 AAA, quadruple A games underneath their belt. What are your takeaways on that ideology?
Oh, mate, I'm on the same wavelength as you, Boom. Like like I said, like, obviously it's something to consider. Like, could it be just the one title? But like I said, like, realistically, it can't possibly like be anything other than, like, multiple projects. Like, I fully expect the initiative to be a house for a significant amount of projects, like at least like maybe 2, 3. It's got to be, like you said it best, like, too many chefs spoil the broth, and it can't be more. It can't be overstated. Like, if you've got too many people working on one project, even if they are like these very talented people, like, too many talented people in one room, they're gonna butt heads.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
It's gonna happen. You need to, like, separate the crews a bit and get a few different things going. It should be very interesting, to say the least. But like I said before, whatever they're working on, Boom, is catching the attention of some big names, and I'm excited to see what they're doing.
Yeah, definitely me too. And again, I just have to say, this has been, we're closing in on 2 hours. Thanks to Welsh having the time. And of course, thanks to, the 70 plus people that hung around past the 90 minutes. I appreciate you. The Welsh appreciate you. Of course, this has been an amazing show. I hope everyone enjoyed it as much as I did actually doing it. I know the Welsh had a fantastic time. But Welsh, listen, you got some things coming in 2019. I think that your channel is worthy of people's attention. You are going to be doing videos, hopefully on a weekly basis very soon. I want everyone to get over to you to YouTube and of course Twitter and follow you. Tell everyone where they can do that.
Twitter is at the Welsh Gamer 93, one word, and if you want to find me on YouTube, the Welsh Gamer, 3 words. February is the month it's going to be happening. I can announce that right now. I'm going to be doing at minimum 1 video a week. This month in particular has been absolutely manic because my son's gone back to school since Christmas, and it's been hard to say the least. He's been up and down with temperatures, been catching little bugs and viruses here and there, not to mention because he's autistic, the transition from having a few weeks off for Christmas going back into the reality of school has been really hard on him.
Yes,
to say the least, I've been exhausted. He's been keeping me up all hours of the night with his nightmares and stuff. Being a parent is a beautiful thing. It sounds riveting when you write it down on paper, but it can be very difficult. And I writ off this month. I haven't been to the gym. I haven't done anything. I've barely even gamed this month. So when it comes to video making, my promise is as it was when I told you last week and the week before. But February is the month I'm going to start doing videos weekly. So be sure to go over to my channel, The Welsh Gamer, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, and I can assure you, I'm a man of my word. You will see plenty of content from me this year. But as for the Xbox Factor, I was more than happy to do the extra half an hour. Boom, you are a legend in the making, sir. Well, not in the making. It's well established by now. You are the legend. You are arguably one of the nicest people I've ever met, and I can't believe what you've just done for me. Really touches me. I can't wait to show my missus. She'll be over the moon with that as well. Over the moon indeed. Great show, great topics, great chat. Love you all sincerely. Back to you, Boom. And see you all next week for the next episode of the Xbox Factor.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? Real quick, before we get out of here, I have to say a big congratulations and thank you for coming back to the community. I'm talking about your other mate that was, of course, part of the Dragon X podcast. Microbox of X has returned to not only Twitter, but he's returned to podcasting and the Microbox, podcast. I'm real happy to see him come back. He took some time off for some personal reasons that will remain personal, but the community seemed to be missing something, and the fact that he returned is a big deal. I know, Drew, you were very happy to see him. You were on a recent podcast the other day with him. How did that feel?
Yeah. No, man, Micro is my boy. I absolutely love the boy. Love the man like a brother. He is an absolute gem. He is literally the guy that got me into YouTube. I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for him. He's taken me to EGX, like him and Andy Mack for that matter. But they've taken me to EGX like 2 years in a row now. Just absolutely lovely people. And Microbox of X is one of the bright sparks of the YouTube streets, and he's back with the Micropod. They did a phenomenal show on the weekend. I watched it. I supported them live on Saturday, and they've had over like 200 views now on it, and that's brilliant for his comeback show.
Yes.
Really happy for him. And yesterday I was on Respawn Gaming's podcast called the Respawn Gaming Podcast, episode 5 with Micro and a few other members of the community, and it was a great show. Be sure to go over and check that out. We had a lot of fun. But it's just nice to see Micro back doing what he does best, because this community would be truly lost without him. Honestly, I think he's one of those names that you need to see floating around on Twitter and YouTube for it to feel right. Does that make sense?
No, it makes good sense. He's a good dude. He's a good community member, and it's great to have him back for sure. But absolutely. I want to thank everyone once again. I want to thank you, Drew, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. Everyone, enjoy your gaming weekend. See you online. Take care, everybody.